So being able to decode this signal, and most importantly, I had a known good, is I believe the only reason I was able to get this car fixed without slinging an extra part on there. Stay tuned to the video and I will get into it. For all you guys that shared your comments on my last video, the Sentra from Hell, you shared your same anxiety about calling an ECU. Thanks for that. I've read all those comments and they were all great. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that goes through that. It kind of sucks that we do that, but it does show you care and you strive to, do the best job that you're hired to do. Well, we've got another one. And this video here, you're going to see, I've got an airbag, a passenger airbag issue going on with a seat. This is a 2009 Maxima. There are no parts available through Nissan anymore. So you're faced with buying used parts or control units. And as the video progresses, I'm pretty sure you guys will see what I'm faced with as far as the decision I have to make, considering some of the parts that have already been replaced on this car. I'm going to show you the good video, the bad video, and I'm going to show you a known good. I think I said I'm going to show you a known good capture. I do have 3 captures, but we're only going to go over 2 because basically the fixed capture is the known good. So I'm not going to bore you with showing a known good and then the fixed capture, which is basically the same. I tested, retested, and basically everything I found pointed to a bad control unit. By the grace of God, I found a known good. And I found a car that was identical other than the color of the seat to get a known good from. And basically, between having a nice scope and a known good, that really saved the day. So this is definitely another gray hair pull it out moment, but we got through it, and I'm going to post it and go over my thought process. I'm not going to show you all the powers and ground tests. I'm just going to go straight to the meat, the signals, and we're going to decode what I think is a K-line communication between the occupant detection, which is basically the seat, and the airbag controller. I'll show you a quick wiring diagram and then two captures. Should be a good video. It took a couple of weeks to get all the footage together, so you may hear me say the same thing over and over, but I'm pretty sure you guys are smart enough and you'll figure out what's going on. On another note, in the description box is a link to Auto Nerds. Trevor, or Auto Nerds, they are giving away through some sort of a drawing basically a bunch of free stuff to go to Visions. Like basically they're paying for all the tuition if you want to go to Visions. I've heard it's $750 in value. If you click on my link, it'll take you to the homepage, and then there'll be a blue box. I can't remember, it says Visions. You click on that and you just sign up. I think the deadline is December 25th, Christmas Day, and he's going to draw a random on the 26th. But make sure you read all those details. I may have the dates a little off. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to be a Pico member. You don't even have to own a Picoscope. He has just opened this to whomever wants to go or try to win to go. You would have to provide your own transportation and your own hotel or whatever. I haven't personally entered Kansas City, Virginia, quite a few miles in between. Unless whoever wins, you want to stop by and pick me up. I mean, there's that option. But you guys check that out. It's something he's put out there. It has a great value. I've personally never been to Visions, but I've talked to people that have been there, and they're all like, "Man, you need to go. You need to go." And it's just that I don't know, 1,500 mile span there that is kind of separating me from going to Visions. But one day when I'm YouTube famous, maybe you guys will see me out there. So check that link out. Enter yourself in. If you win, good luck. If you happen to win because you've seen this video, definitely let me know. That would be cool. And while you're there, shop around. They got scopes. They've got all the good stuff going on over there. So enjoy the video. Thanks again for you guys that have commented on my last video. Maybe we need to do like a support group for the high anxiety levels, for calling ECU. So thanks again, and enjoy the video. Thanks. All right, so the reason I'm looking at this car, it's a 2009 Maxima. When I start this thing, you'll see this passenger airbag light indicator come on, and it doesn't bulb check. And I'll keep you guys focused on the light. All right, the car just started, and the airbag light in the dash just went out. This light should have went out with it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to take my right hand and I'm going to put some weight in the passenger seat. And this thing takes forever to turn off. I'm not going to set and keep the camera running the whole time because it'll be god awful long. But it should have changed by now, and I'm going to give you guys a look at known good. So I'm going to let my hand out of the seat, and you can see this light never indicated a person or not a person or did anything. If you do set in this seat, it will take up to like 2 minutes before it recognizes you. And then if you get out of it, it takes like 2 minutes before it doesn't recognize you. So that's in a nutshell what I'm doing with this car. And you can see there's no lights flashing in the dash. There's no DTCs, but I'll show you guys the known good and how I got about figuring this thing out. I really got lucky. Same deal, I'm gonna start it. And we're gonna watch the light. And I'm glad I could get a hold of this car. All right, the light's out, and I'm gonna put my fist in the seat. And there's the light on. And fist is out of the seat now. And there's the light off. Yeah, I've got a capture of this car. This is the one that I'm going to show you on the video. So got lucky with this thing, guys. I mean, known good. So here's a quick wiring diagram of the system I'm working on. Occupant classification control unit. It is kind of integrated into a pad or a bladder, we'll say, to the seat bottom. No replaceable parts in there per Nissan. The only way to get that system is you buy the whole seat bottom, which is not available anymore for this car. And then the airbag control unit itself, that is under the center console. So in a nutshell, basically this guy, all it does is report what it sees to this guy. This guy makes all the decisions. All this, it says yes, no, maybe. This guy says, okay, I'll make decisions accordingly to what you tell me. So power ground, pretty straightforward. I'm focused on this line right here. I have diagnosed a lot of these in the past, and generally when I see this system mess up, I have trouble codes. And then I usually have a very corrupt signal coming out of 2, getting to 49, or I have no signal. It's usually pretty straightforward and easy to see, except on this car. This car had no DTCs. All I had was a delayed light that you saw in the video. And the customer was very aware of that, and they noticed things had changed. And the car had already had 1 seat put in it. So the bulk of the testing I did was right here at 2. Because everything was perfect at 2, I tore the center console up and I made sure that the same thing at 2 was getting to 49, and it was. The minute that I put my hand in the seat, the signal at 2 changed, the signal at 49 changed. So I'm thinking, do I have a bad airbag control unit that is not responding? Because you're going to see the communication serial data that I've got, there's nothing wrong with it. The signal integrity is basically all I can check. I have no idea what the data means. That's engineering level stuff. I don't even know who knows what those signals mean. All I know is this signal was good. It wasn't corrupt, it wasn't shorted, it wasn't open, and it did not have high resistance. So I've always, if I have good powers, grounds, and communications to control units, I've always replaced control units. And guys, straight up, as honest as I can be, if it was not for having a known good, I would have put an airbag control unit in this car. And I would have been wrong. I mean, I would have had egg on my face, a couple of sleepless nights. You know the deal. I did check the bulb circuit, and it was fine. When it was commanded on, it was on. When it was commanded off, it was off. There was no shenanigans going on with this circuit. I checked all the powers and grounds going to this controller. I checked all the powers and grounds going to this controller, and you're going to see the scope capture of this signal, which was absolutely perfect. Checking it here and checking it here. So I am ready to pull the trigger on another control unit. And I asked the customer management, I said, could you guys buy me some time? I know where there's a 2009 that I can get a known good capture from, and let me at least compare signals so I can make a 100% educated decision on what's wrong with this car. So I'm thankful that I had a known good. I'm thankful that the customers were giving me time, and it worked out perfectly. So better to be lucky than good. So let me get to some of those captures, and let me show you what I'm dealing with. All right, so here's the bad capture. My channel A is the communication line between the OCS and the airbag controller. And the red trace here is a micro current clamp. Part number K110. I think you guys have seen me use it in other videos. It said I kind of used it to show the current. Whenever you have voltage, power, and ground, you're going to have current flow. Although it's small, but it's still there. So what I've done is basically the seat's empty, and then somewhere in here I put my fist in the seat, and then I took my fist out of the seat and kind of let it go back to rest. The signal changes immediately at the control unit and at the seat. It's just like the control unit did not understand the signal or was blatantly ignoring the signal. This is where This is where I was hoping that this blue signal was corrupt and it would be an easy diagnosis, but this signal's not, and I'm going to show you because I've decoded it. Now, don't hold me to any of this. I'm just showing you here how I did this particular procedure. I think this is a K-line communication, which you do not have that option in the Picoscope software. So this is the communication protocol that I've used. I've used this before in other videos, and anytime I have a single line that is not LIN. Let's just open up a couple of packets here. So basically you've got a packet of 4, and then some time, a packet of 4. So what's going on here is the seat bottom is saying, here's my report, and it opens with the exact same signal, and then it gives the report. Seats empty, seats full, seats half full, and it just keeps doing it throughout the whole capture. Generally, when I see these things fail, these signals are not there, or they're so bad it's an easy diagnosis. But as you can see, there's nothing wrong with these signals. The decoder has decoded it, and I'm going to get into that just a little bit. There's another. The signal is perfect. And when I saw this, I'm like, my God, do I have another bad control unit? And the car had already had a seat put in it. So, I'm kind of on the fence as to what do I do here? I have good power, good ground, and a good solid signal going to the airbag controller, but yet the airbag controller is still not making good decisions. Right now, everything is pointing towards replace the airbag control unit. As far as the decode I used, I'll just hit this. Channel A, I'll let this populate itself. 10K baud, that's the speed of the signal. And basically you can fit 9 data bits in between from the start bit to the end bit. You could fit 9. So that's how I populated that. Even if I'm not right on how I figured this out, I'm going to use the exact same setup between good and bad. Does that make sense? So even if I'm not correct in my math, I'm using the same control, so I ought to get the same result. But if I get a different result, then I have a direction to go, and that's the important part of this. So kind of remember those numbers, 10K baud with 9 bits. Everything else, it populated itself. I did not pick any of the rest of it. So I'm going to hit OK. And then if I open this up, and there's my decode, and I hope you guys can see this. So packet 1, which is right there, if I zoom in on it, it's going to show you 08A, 02A, 02A, 02A. There, and there. And then it repeats. And then I go back to the next group. And it's the same thing over and over and over. Basically, I'm thinking that's the report of nothing in the seat. But yet my light was still doing what the complaint is. So let's go in here in the middle. And let's look somewhere around in here. Now notice there's my 08A, which is the opening signal. That's, hey, I'm reporting. And this is what I'm reporting. Now notice that signal, 07F. This is when I'm pushing down in the seat. 07F. And it'll run that 07F until I take my hand out of the seat, which is probably somewhere over in here. So now we're back to 02A. So this is the bad seat. 02A is empty. And then we get down to O7F is pressure in the seat. And then back to O2A is empty. Now, guys, I have no idea what any of that means. All I know is that these signals, there's nothing wrong with them. They're not shorted. They are perfectly good serial data. My sample rate is perfect. This little rounding here is normal. I mean, everything at this point is pointing to a control unit. And I don't know whether it was intuition, a gut feeling, the anxiety that we talk about. I just wasn't ready to pull the trigger on a $500 control unit. So I bought myself some time because I knew where there's a known good car, and it happens to be the known good car is my wife's car. And I brought my stuff home, and I retested, and I'm glad I did, because this one little signal, this O2A with an empty seat, is the wrong message. And I have a theory as to what it's telling it, but I don't know this for a fact. It's simply a theory. So, bad seat. O8A is, hey, what are you doing? O2A is giving the what's in the seat. I know for a fact there was nothing in the seat, and it's giving me O2A 3 times. Although the signal integrity is good, the messaging is bad. So now let me show you the known good. So remember O2A. The secret is remember O2A. So here's the good. Same setup. Let me show you that. 10K baud, 9 bits. So basically I'm comparing apples to apples. Let's cue right in on the very first one. I've got 169. Let me open up this. So O8A is my start. 169 is the empty message on the known good. So if I look back real quick, O8A is the start message. This is the bad again. O2A on the bad one is the empty. O8A is the start message. 169 is the empty on the good one. Let's go back in the middle here. This is where I put my fist in it. And you can see O7F. Same signal when it's loaded. It's the empty that is the wrong message. And the only way I figured this out is because I had a known good. If it wasn't for that, I would have called a bad controller all day, every day. It was that gut feeling, check one more thing. It's just crazy sometimes, man. It's almost like you're guided just to keep looking. It's the answer is a little deeper than what you've looked. The current flow is kind of neat, a little off subject, but the first signal doesn't drop all the way to ground, so you really don't get a bunch of current flow. I mean, that's kind of the opening, hey, how you doing, knock on the door signal. And then it starts reporting. And it's kind of neat. It drops closer to ground, so now you start getting current flow, whereas the opening, you do not. So the serial decoding definitely helped me. The known good put me over the top. So I made the call on a new seat. or another used seat, and the new used seat had the same messaging as my known good. So we made the right call. The car got fixed. Just another weird, crazy diagnosis, man. I mean, the past two that I've gotten has just really been pulling my hair out. Not the usual, put a known good coil in, or coil this, coil that, and, not the easy stuff. So, very, very, very interesting. Like I said, I was very nervous when I checked this signal, and all these data packets were perfect. They decoded perfect. It's just that O2A. And my theory on that is this. So bear with me. I'm going to explain this. If you guys ever, cars have the auto headlight deal. So you just put it on auto. You've got a sensor probably in the dash. If it's dark outside, it turns the lights on. If it's too light outside, the lights go off. Well, I think, and I only think this, I think this O2A message was kind of like the auto headlight deal. Let's say you're riding down the road on a bright sunny day, but you go under a bridge or you go through a tunnel. Well, the lights don't automatically come on. There's a certain amount of time that it's got to see that darkness before the lights will come on. So that way the lights aren't flicking on and flicking off, flicking on, flicking off. The control unit's programmed to see a certain signal for a length of time before it makes a decision. What I'm thinking, and this is only my thinking on this, is this intermittent O2A, which kept the light on, was like, we'll say if there's a passenger in the seat that's wiggling around a lot, or instead of sitting flat on their butt, you're on a long trip, they've kind of shifted over and they're moving around in the seat, and they're kind of leaning sideways, and maybe only their hip is on the seat, not putting as much pressure on the pad. So versus that airbag light going on and off, the control unit's got a delayed response to make sure that person is settled down before it turns the airbag on and off. I think maybe that's what the control unit was doing, because the sensor in the seat was registering perfectly as any time any change happened, it registered it. But the control unit ultimately makes the decision. So I think my seat was doing the right thing, but it was doing it with nothing in the seat. It's like the calibration was off in the seat. With these older cars, there's no way to calibrate the seat. It's basically you bolt the seat down, you torque the seat rails in sequence to the proper torque, you plug it up, and it works. You don't have to put a weight in it. You don't have to calibrate it. There is no 0-point reset. It just takes care of itself. That's the way this system works. And I think for some reason, whether the cushion had done gotten hard, I can't explain why. I just theorized that this seat is giving out this O2A signal, and this O2A is telling the control unit that there may or may not be enough weight, and the control unit is waiting for a long time before it turns the light on and off. I don't know. That is just totally my theory. I hope it makes sense. I've kind of rambled a lot here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. But this whole case study was based on having a good scope, decoding the data, and most importantly, having a known good car. If it wasn't for that, my goose was cooked on this deal. I guarantee I would have put a control unit in this car, and I would have been wrong. And I probably would have needed 6 weeks of therapy to get over it. But I would have still posted it. So, Hope you enjoyed it. If you sat through all that and you understand what I'm saying, you're definitely a trooper. You guys have a happy holidays. We're coming up on Christmas, Hanukkah, Pearl Harbor Day. Everything's right in here. So enjoy the season, and I will catch you guys on the next video. All right, we got the new seat, or the used seat put in it, and here we go. Start it up, and we're watching here. And see, now it bulb checks and goes out. And what I'm going to do, I'll focus you guys on the light. I'm just going to put a little pressure in the seat and see how fast that changed. And now I got my hand out of the seat. And there it goes. And we got no lights on. And called this one fixed. Thank God for a known good. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks.